I am here with Kathy Hackl at Generate, and this is such an exciting day because this is the first Generate.
Yeah.
What do you think of it so far?
So far, it's been great. I think all the speakers have been incredibly knowledgeable and insightful. I just came from one of the workshops where we're creating a RAG and, just getting into the code. It's been really, really helpful. I feel like there's things for 101 folks, but also for more advanced folks. There's a little bit for everyone that wants to learn how to use AI.
And upskilling is so important right now. I mean, this is something that so many people are looking to do because it has to do with, what are my prospects for the future? Or maybe there's just excitement. So when it comes to spaces like this, where people are really able to learn in an environment where they're learning from like the source, is this what's needed right now?
Absolutely what's needed. I think the folks at Motive got it right in the sense that you come here to learn. I feel like everyone that is here has that open mind. They want to learn. They're finding the resources and the people to talk to actually not just go from theory, but actually practice. And that's what I find interesting about the event.
And AI itself is really undergoing a huge change because for most people, it's something that's new. But for people who've been in the space for a while, like this has been out for a very long time, but we're seeing a new iteration of it. And you yourself have gone through some AI iterations and you have some new focuses as well. I want to hear all about what you're doing in the AI space right now and your vision for the future.
Yeah, so definitely I'm more focused on newer architectures and newer models. So right now what you're seeing is this generative AI moment, right, with large language models, and that's a big part of the emphasis here at Generate. But as that progresses, we're going into agentic AI, which is going to be the theme of another Motive's events, where you're going to be working with multi-agent capacities, whether it's one agent, multiple agents, and all those sorts of things, and then heading into physical AI. So I'm really interested in large vision models or vision action models that are going to allow robots, virtual beings, holograms to kind of navigate the physical world with us towards that physical AI, right? So kind of a little bit, I always joke and I say I work 5 to 10 years into the future.
Yes.
So focusing more on those kind of vision action models, large world models, which is pretty much, virtual twin of the physical world, updatable in real time. And that's how, some of these humanoid robots, which you're going to see, are going to kind of be using that data to navigate.
And did I see you just have a conversation with a humanoid robot not too long ago?
I did. I've been filming robots for a long time, and I know you do too. You're really
love
into
robots.
Them as well. Saw you kicking one.
I did.
Don't kick them, people.
Don't tell all the robots that I did that. They told me to do it. It was part of the demonstration.
Yes.
It was nothing malicious, but this is an exciting space.
It is. I mean, I've been kind of filming robots across different countries that I've gone to. Every time I see one, whenever it is, whether it is, in Singapore or where it was, I saw one at the beach in Costa Rica, one of those that delivers your food.
Oh, wow.
Kind of see them everywhere. Anytime I see a robot of any type, I'll take a video. So I've been kind of thinking about them. And I've been thinking about that, like not just the robot side, but also the virtual beings, the holograms, all these types of virtual elements that are going to come together. Definitely thinking through that. I do think physical AI is going to unlock kind of an even bigger change than we're seeing right now with generative. And if you talk to a lot of people out there in Silicon Valley, for example, venture capitalists or people in the industry, even Jensen Huang, who's like, the AI Jesus, that's what they call him. He will tell you that he believes that the humanoid robot or the robots industry is going to be worth more than the auto industry combined. So I think we're going to head into really interesting territory in the next couple of years.
And we talk a lot about humanoid robots, but that's because this world is built for humans. But are we going to see an evolution, especially with AI and robots together? Because you can have robots and you can have AI, but you don't always have AI and robotics. So we're going to have to physically redesign our spaces with AI robotics in mind.
Absolutely. So in Milan recently at Digital Design Days, I spoke in front of a crowd about 5,000 young designers. And I said to them, you are going to have to design the world, not just for human beings, but also for humanoid robots, for robots of all sorts, for, autonomous vehicles, for virtual beings, all these sorts of things. You're going to have the opportunity to kind of really merge the physical and the virtual layers that are getting activated in this age of AI. So we're definitely design. It's interesting because people always say like the death of design or what have you, but in reality, it's a new dawn. I told them they should be very excited.
I think everyone is pretty much much excited, but there's also this like fear.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have excitement on one hand, we have fear on the other. And I think sometimes it's hard to tell. Like, is what I'm feeling excitement? Is what I'm feeling fear? And when you're talking with people who are really starting to deep dive into the space, or even companies that are trying to prioritize AI, what direction would you give them?
Well, I think what people are feeling is that it might be fear, but it's more like that state of the unknown, right? There's so many unknowns right now and how this is all going to pan out, how it's going to be created. So one of the things as a professionally trained futurist is I help people think about the future, right? So there's not only one future. When you if you close your eyes and think about the future, you might think about multiple futures. The reality is that you build towards that future. So the idea is to think about what is the ideal future, the preferred future that you would want to see, and how do you build from that future back and start today to build that future, right? So, I'm not an AI doomer, or, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I think I have more of a protopian approach where technology and humanity can work together for the betterment of society. So I'm not, I don't think it's all going to be popcorn and unicorns. I think there's going to be difficulties. There is going to be job replacement, all these sorts of things. But I don't think it's only going to be, job replacement, everyone out of the job and everyone has to live off of UBI. I think it'll be an evolution, just like it's been in other industrial revolutions and changes in the economy.
And I want to take a step back for a moment because I think it's really interesting what draws people into the AI space.
Yeah.
And like I was talking a little bit earlier here that I think it was really Star Trek: The Next Generation where I got to see technology in this really positive type of world. What was it that drew you to this space and it kind of motivates you, if you think back?
It's interesting. I'll tell you two things, because there's that analogy of like, are you Star Wars or Star Trek? I'm Back to the Future. That's my preferred technology. That's where I'm like, oh, I got really excited. What drew me into technology, I've always been a futurist. I just didn't have the word in my head until possibly 15 years ago. And I realized, oh, this is an actual job and a career. I was drawn to technology because of the storytelling elements that it affords us, right? As a former journalist, and you as a independent journalist, I feel like technology allows us to tell stories in new ways. And the first time I really got into it was through live video. So doing live video on the phone, and then virtual reality. When I went to a VR headset, I was put into an experience that just changed my life. And said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I've been in the VR, AR space, now spatial computing, AI space for a long time. So I got really interested. And I got really interested also in the storytelling possibilities, but also how does this help humanity? A lot of what you're going to see me do over the next couple months is content around how can we use technology in good ways to make our love lives better, make our relationships better, make our parenting better. How are people swiping right or left on technology, especially AI? So even thinking about that, like how do you on a daily basis use technology, and especially now AI, to have a better relationship with your family, have a better relationship with your partner, have a relationship with your kids? Or are you using it on the opposite side, which is more that, Black Mirror kind of concept of you're actually using technology to evade people, to not have relationships, and to focus more on having, more of a relationship with your phone or with an AI. So I think it'll be an interesting balance.
And that's an interesting question too, because I know that this is a new focus for you, focusing on AI and romance, right? And what does it do to bring humans together? And that's your focus. But there's this potential of, well, why don't I just fall in love with my phone?
Yeah. Well, I've gotten all sorts of questions asked about that. If I fall in love with an AI, is that cheating? It's like, well, depends on your partner, right? I don't know. So all these sorts of things.
It's a good question.
It's a great question, right? So I think we're starting to kind of just have these really interesting conversations. And even like if I see my kids, I've got 3 children. They're all Generation Alpha. Where are they? Yeah, they see their friends in the physical world. But most of the times they'll be gaming. They'll meet in the virtual space, or they'll come home to our house and game. And there's a lot of things that happen in the virtual space that maybe for older generations make no sense. But what happens in the virtual space is equally as real to them. And they're meeting their friends there. They're, meeting their boyfriend and girlfriend there. Like there's this whole component as well on the younger generations who are starting their dating journeys, how they're using technology for good and for bad. So that's kind of...
In our generation, it was more about we were, chatting. Not even on text yet. This was like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do? It's like just parent needs to get involved over here. What's going on? I can't tell, you know. So it's going to be an interesting time for the younger generation as well.
For sure.
Kathy, thank you so much.
Thank you.